Welcome to my Flosstube channel. I'm Delit, and today is July 1st, 2026. It's Wednesday, and I'm really excited to show you a few items that I've been working on, cross-stitch projects. And a lot of the others that I've worked on will have to go in another video. I just don't think I'm going to be able to fit it all in one video. And so we'll just go ahead and get started with some of my projects. I had shown you in my last video some posters I made to show you the WhipGo projects that I had and the Mania projects I hoped to start. These are projects that aren't either of those, just regular projects that I work on. I have a lot more than this. This is all that I've taken pictures of and stuck on the poster. I tried making this video already and discovered you couldn't hear some of what I said when this is up too close to my mouth. So that's why it's kind of out of view. So I don't make the same mistake. I tried to get my nice microphone working, but for some reason I don't know what to do to make the laptop recognize it or whatever. Use it so that I can like hold things in front of me and you can still hear me or like move out of the range of the laptop. So I have to try to be mindful of that, or I spend an hour or however long making a video and then you can't hear what I'm saying. So trying to not make those mistakes. So these are like this some of the projects that I'm going to show you. Some of the there I am making the same mistake. Some of them some of the projects on here I'm not going to show you, but most of them I think I am. So you might recognize some of them. That poster is to help me like in a year, just like with my Mania projects, when I check to see how much progress I've made on them, I can check my other projects and say, how much progress did I make on these in a year's time? And hopefully I'll have made a lot or finished them and like rip them all off and put new ones up. So we're going to start with this project, which actually I don't think I've ever shown you the pattern for this project before, but I have shown you the project. I started it in March. So I've shown it to you at least once or maybe more than once before. I don't think I showed it in my last video though. So it's the Emerald City pattern by Flosstube Cross, which is a free design that you can download from their website. And you'll notice they used a light green fabric. I'm using an emerald green, which is going to make some of my floss colors have to be different to accommodate that. And then they have their own floss, which like I would love to use the Owl Forest embroidery floss for like every Owl Forest project. That would be lovely, but they're a little pricey, and so I don't have that. I'm using DMC, but not all of the floss is DMC. I did find some floss that's a different brand, but I don't have that with me to show you. And the one that I'm going to show you today, which is the Yellow Brick Road, I'm using a variegated floss for that goes from like yellow to kind of more of an orangey color. I don't know if you can see that there. I know I'm supposed to put it up in front of something. Oh, like the pattern. I noticed when I was looking at the design that there aren't any munchkins. They left Munchkin Land out of their design. But there we go. This will show you the variegation. See, it goes from yellow to kind of more orange. And let me show you what I did. I'll just show you and then I'll talk. Okay, Look how fancy. I'm using a foam board with little clips to hold projects up, and I do think it is better. It just is, it takes time to do these videos, so that's one of the time consuming things is changing these out. There was a lady who did a video. She had a different board for every project. They were all ready to go. I was very impressed, but I don't have that. Geez, I hope you're hearing everything I'm saying. So anyhow, the yellow brick road, the embroidery and floss is variegated. So that's why I have a variegated floss, but I also have DMC 743. So some of the little cross stitches I do are 743, and some of them are this variegated floss that goes from yellow to like macaroni and cheese orange. And so that is the effect that you get in there. And then I'm going to show you the pattern again, and you'll see that the part of the city that I've done is like the entrance gate and wall. And I've just done I say it's the yellow part. It's actually a greenish yellow. Anyway, it's the lightest color of that. There's still a lot more to do. And then there's the whole city up above it and all of the motifs around. If I'm taking too long in showing you these, I apologize, but when I watch other people's videos, they don't show it long enough for me to really look at and notice the things I want to see. So that is the reason for it. When I figure out where I put the telephone, oh, it slipped in between couch cushions, like old telephones never would have done. But smartphones do very easily. They slip and slide everywhere. Okay. Oops. Now, let me just make that a little bigger. So see, this is the city, and I've done this gold. It looks gold. It's not really gold part. And you can see that there's still like green parts to do all around, and there's like a little yellow bell right above the yellow brick road. So I haven't done all of that yellow brick road there in the middle. I still have more, but I've done most of it. And then they have the road in other parts of the picture. It's very cute. And there are other people who have completed their design and done it on a fabric like Owl Forest calls for. And I highly recommend you go look at them. I think the Huga Stitcher, HYGGE, is one of them. So let me take this off of here. And while I'm doing that, I can give you some short life updates. The best one of which is that I'm a great aunt. I mean, I was a good aunt before, but now I'm a great aunt because my nephew had his first baby. Well, his wife had the baby. And he now gets to help her raise that baby. So that's very exciting. I have not seen the baby yet. It's a little boy. So it's my first great nephew. And very happy and pleased with that. He was born just a couple weeks ago. And he's the first one in our whole family, and then in his family, the first grandchild. And then the next project I'm going to show you is the one I usually show first. But because I had made this video a few times and needed to remake it, I didn't have it on the board, and to save time, I just decided to show you the project that was still on the board. And that was the last project I showed, which this time the last got to be first, just like it says in the Bible. Doesn't really mean cross-stitch projects. Okay. So let me get this all arranged and then I'll show this to you. I will remind you that this is a project that my mother cross-stitched, still needs to backstitch. I am putting in the border on it. She had previously stitched part of the border, not the gold filament, but the middle part that goes around this cross-stitching. There were some issues with it that I suggested we take it out, and which I think a lot of people would not do, and it might not have been necessary, but since it's already done. And so, and I said I will put it back in. So. But I was already going to do the gold filament because she got really frustrated with that. And with her age, with her memory and her eyesight, it just was more reasonable. Anyhow. So this comes from Across My Heart booklet. If you're familiar with Cross My Heart, those are older booklets, but lovely designs. I was going to mention that these designs in here, the reason I bought the booklet was actually that pretty lady that's like an Edwardian Gibson girl kind of lady, and the peacock for sure. Also, look at that pretty frame on that peacock. So, but I haven't started those, and I wasn't gonna start them right away when I got the designs, but my mother wanted to start this design right away, and I said, yeah, that works. Go ahead. And she started it on white fabric, which, did you notice? They have it on white. And so that one still needs to get finished. It's down there in the cupboard. But after this one gets finished, and a few other projects that I think she would rather do. So it may be left for me to do. My mother is approaching her 83rd birthday. So we'll see. That sort of thing makes me really think about things like that when I'm starting, especially large projects or several projects, like how I chose to start 31 new projects in May. I started 5 in May, but I picked out 31 to start before next May, and I still haven't started all 31, but I did make a lot of progress in June towards that goal. And yeah, trying to figure out where all this will make the biggest difference. Let me put one more on here for good measure. I just noticed it makes a difference when you take the time to put it on. I'm going to show you. I don't have it quite straight after all that, but bear with me because sometimes we're going to save time. I can't cope with it. It's got to be straight. I'm so sorry for my pickiness about it. I went to all that and then didn't wind up with it straight. Haste makes waste. It's probably because I don't have it facing me. We're going to switch that around. Make sure it's straight. Straight enough anyway. So anyhow, other news there is to tell you is that my father went to the ER one night a few weeks ago and wound up from there after being in the hospital for a few days. He went to a nursing home. He had a torn rotator cuff and was in a lot of pain. And he finally just was uncomfortable in the nursing home and decided to check himself out, even though really he probably should have stayed. He just decided to come home. He's a lot happier now that he's home. Probably doing things he shouldn't. Meaning trying to be extra helpful Whereas I say, like, you should be resting, and he'll say, oh no, I'm fine. I can do this. That's why I thought he should stay at the rest home. Because then he has to rest, even though it was not restful for him in the bed and the chair that they have there. I thought, yeah, but you're not carrying out garbage or trying to do dishes or lift or carry or just do all kinds of things. And should you need help with something, you got strong people, able people to help you. But anyhow, glad he's home in other respects, but I'm a little nervous about him. We're doing it. Okay, here we go. It's still not straight, but it's going to have to be straight. Trying to give you enough time to look at it. So I work just on the gold filament, not any cross stitching like here, because I've got a issue in here I got to fix. So I'm doing the gold filament coming down, hoping to find where that problem is and then fix it. And it's not with this, I don't think. Well, I did take some of that out, so it could be. But anyway, I think I already had done some of this up here, but I finished filling a lot of the gold in here, bringing it down. And on the other side, I did even more. See, all the way down to there. I don't know if you heard that. All the way down to there. So move on to the next project. And then my sister has been in a nursing home since the beginning of June, which I think I told you about in my last video. And I just haven't been able to go see her as much as I had been hoping because of things with my father, and him not being here means I need to be here more to help my mother. And then I've had my own health issues, like especially the last week and a half, actually yesterday and today especially. Um, so I'm just kind of taking it easy today. This is actually a lot for me to make a video. So it's a good sign though. I'm feeling up to that. Let's see. Okay, next project is a kit that I bought 23 years ago when I went to Yellowstone National Park. I've shown it on this video, like in one of my floss tubes, sorry. But it's been a few years, I think. 2 or 3 years. Could have been 3 years. Here is the pattern. And let me put it on. I have a tiny little board for the smaller projects. The great big foam board is not as handy as these tiny ones for tiny projects. I thought that would be a good idea. And that's all the news. Oh, well, I live in Springville, Utah, and we have had a lot of smoke from forest fires. And not so much in the last week, but before that, for at least a week, I would say, ash was falling down. It was like it was Christmas, but not Christmas. Yeah, covering the car and the grass and the road. Crazy. Is that the right way? I do. So let me hold the picture up so you can compare and see the head of the buffalo, the legs of the buffalo. It's like the neck. This is the darkest brown, which I've almost finished. It's almost black. It's so dark. And I mean, it really does look black. And then there's a couple of other shades of brown that are lighter that go in there. So this is a small project that now I've got a ton done on. This could get finished if I just keep working on it without too much more effort. So I'm looking forward to that, having a project that I finished. I've been a little bit more aware of that after going back and realizing, wait, when did I ever show? I've shown projects that I finished before, but not projects that I finished that I was working on when I showed them in one of these videos. They were like projects I had finished before I ever started making these videos. So yeah, I've got tons of starts, which didn't really move me along to that goal, but I did enjoy doing that. And the projects that I have closest to finishing, besides that little buffalo, are the one on black. That's my mother's project, so I didn't actually cross stitch the whole thing. But the amount of work in the border is like a project. So, and it's taking me a long time. So I'm gonna count it. Oh my gosh. From this being folded all this time, there's like lines in this fabric. This is the first time I've noticed it. But I better start rolling this fabric. I mean, the lines are already there. They're not going to go away, are they? Oof. Like the crease. It's not just a crease, but like the fabric is a different color along the crease. Well, how did I not notice this sooner? Well, this is sad. Just just noticed it. I don't know how I didn't notice it before. Well, anyway, this is my project, And a Forest Grew, which is a design by Karen Kluba of Rosewood Manor. And there's a verse there in the middle that's from Genesis, and out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So I always start my projects in the middle, so I had already done of the, and I've added the G and the A for garden. Yes, don't be expecting too much. That's all you get is 2 letters. So, and that's actually not, I don't think that's black either. That's 3371, which I think is the same as the buffalo. But this one's all in DMC. I saw someone's almost finished version of this. It looked fantastic. Okay, so I was about to fold it up because that's what's so easy to do. But look, I'm gonna be good. This is a giant project. But when it's finished, just down the road a bit, is going to go on this wall here, up here in my sitting room. I decided to film up here to have different lighting and maybe different sound than in the dining room. I have decided, I like the dining room better for like the table, my seating. You'd think sitting on a couch would be more comfortable, but actually it doesn't give me as much support for my back. So in a way, it's not more comfortable. That is going to be harder to store, but I think that's better for the fabric and the design. Um, I have, yeah, I have 3 more projects to show you. My mother said, the reason your video takes so long is how much you talk. And I thought, I don't know if that's one of the variables that I can change as easily as you think I can. It's just kind of my personality to do that. So, Oops. This is, well, I was going to tell you, or just in case this is your first time watching one of my videos, I've told you over and over again. If you're a returning viewer, one of my new subscribers, who I should acknowledge, I had 3 new subscribers. And then I do know that I lost a subscriber in the last week. I don't know who that is. So anyway, it may or may not be one of the new subscribers who might have subscribed by accident or something. So you maybe can't tell what that is. That is a barn owl. Let me get my what I was saying about Anna Forrest Grew is that I decided I wanted to do some sort of a project with every kind of tree. So that Rosewood Manor design fit the bill. And I really have not found another pattern that has so many different kinds of trees. I am making my own, which I'm going to show you. That's an Afghan. But anyway, that was why I picked that. I love trees. This is Cottage Garden Samplings, A Year in the Woods, and she has about 24 designs right now. I don't know if she's going to add to it. I was thinking, if these are about $10 a pattern, and you bought every pattern, that's like $240 for all the patterns. Some people stitch them all like on one big piece of fabric, which is not what I'm doing, because I don't know that I'm going to get all of these done. Right now, I'm just glad that I got one. This was the one I decided I would start with because of that beautiful variegation in the owl's feathers, which is achieved with a overdyed floss. If you use DMC, it won't have that effect. You can. She has a conversion, but it's still very nice. But if you want it to have that look, you need to use the overdyed floss or something, some sort of, do something similar to that. Jeez, I hope you can hear me and this isn't blocking my voice off. So I already had a lot of this done, but I filled in a little bit down here. And the other thing to tell you about filling that in is that I had heard that when you use a variegated floss to get the greatest amount of variation in your stitching, you need to not do cross-country method, but English method, which is where so Danish method is where you do one row of stitches, like half of the stitch, and then you go back and complete the top part of the cross stitch, which is what I do. And but if you do the English method, which is where you do a cross stitch and then another cross stitch and then another one, which is what my mother does. Go figure that I do an entirely different way from mine. but I do. Anyway, that's how you get more variation. And they were right. When I did that, I said, oh, yep, you do get more variation this way. But it was hard to make myself do it like that. And I thought, well, it will give it a certain variation for me to do both. But it will probably just be more natural for me to do my regular stitching method. We'll see if I can have the discipline to remember to do individual X's instead of cross-country, which is, there are advantages to doing the English method. It's easier to take your stitches out. There's just one stitch right there, and you don't have to take it out. Okay, next project. Now, I'm going to try showing it on this little board. It's my Christmas napkin, so the whole napkin, is really big, but I'm just going to show you. I'm actually going to just do it like this. There's no need to unfold it, really, for you to see this, except, it's starting to get a little dusty, and that's not good. Okay. I do kind of like this, holding them up. So this design comes from this book. I can't show you the picture because of the copyright and everything. And what I worked don't know where to hold it so that you can hear me, but I worked on the border on the bottom. I'll just point to where I added in. Anyhow, so I had a fair amount there, but I did do a lot of work on that. This is a really high thread count, so those are really teeny tiny stitches. It is one thread over two. I think I am stitching over two. Okay. Last project is the afghan, my tree afghan, that it's going to have 35 trees eventually. I have picked out which trees. At the moment, I mostly just have the cedar of Lebanon. I did a tiny little branch, part of a branch for the blue spruce, the Colorado blue spruce. But what I worked on this time was the cedar of Lebanon. And did not work on the blue spruce. And so I did work on this a lot. I'm going to hold it down here hoping that you can. I'm just going to point to where I worked on it and hopefully avoid any problems of you not being able to hear me. It feels really awkward to do that. To like point and not. I'm sorry for any well, that was weird thing about that. Anyhow, the cedar of Lebanon is my favorite tree, so that's why it's in the middle. And that is the last thing I'm going to show you. So at this point, I am done for this video, which wound up being a half hour just to show that many projects. Only some of it is the talking, actually, because it takes time to just get the project out and show it. And so I will share my WhipGo and Mania projects and some things I bought and the stuff I found in a box that I wanted to show you in my next, I don't know how many videos, but it'll be more than one. Thanks for watching my video.